Welcome to Jasiri, where we amplify voices, driving change, and explore solutions to some of the most pressing issues of our time. I'll tell you one thing that I like about the show. I appreciate how we all have conversations about any and everything that concerns us, and that is the truth. You don't even know the half of it. Yes, we are all paying attention to the ones we're not really paying attention to, because I understand how many of us as Nigerians are focused on everyday hustle. It doesn't always have to give us space to focus on what is happening around us, particularly with the nature of the environment. That being said, I'll say again, welcome to the show. Today's show is a special one because our guest brought some scaly and furry friends with him, and that will be coming up in just a bit, even though I struggled to see all that.
We can hear that you struggled to see all that.
Please say that thing again. Suspect.
Suspect needs to wear her glasses, but always forgets to bring them to the set.
I just did two like this.
You see that you really didn't see anything, or you just
blurry.
Lolo said
I was just reading.
Flurry and scaly friends.
Yes.
Who are those? Are they your friends? They are your friends.
Oh my God, I love animals.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And this is the person that would run away the most.
I can't run.
See here, guys, this thing Lolo is planning, Lolo and Tolu are planning for today.
Yes.
You people know me. I don't like what I don't like. And that's the truth. And I don't like it. I've said my own. So you see, anything that happens here on, hitherto, thereafter, you take it like that.
What will happen, Catch? Now you might be the one that will kiss the snake.
You're kind of You're kind of sort of being overly dramatic, Catherine, because I mean you're hurting my feelings. Because don't forget, I also have a furry friend.
It's not just a furry, you're a mother.
But I run away at the sight of the, But anyway,
babies. Well, let's not let the cat out of it.
What? Let me
don't worry, sorry, ma. A snake is a snake. A python is a python.
Calm down.
A lion is a lion.
Okay, so before Catherine's blood pressure rises, I hope you don't have any weapon with you. Let's see if we can get something. We can talk about something to cool her pressure down before we actually, get it up again, because I know it to come up again. Now, this week we have been speaking on increasing women's inclusion in government and in workplaces. Well, history has been made in Namibia. Lolo, well done. Let the whole world know that you got
that you finally got your glasses on set.
Can you be any louder?
I don't know.
All right, like I was saying, history has been made in Namibia. The country has elected its first female president, marking a significant milestone. Clap if you want. Clap if you want. It's not biz. It's not biz. And this has marked a significant milestone for gender equality and leadership in Africa. Now, in a groundbreaking election, the Vice President Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah of Namibia's ruling SWAPO party secured victory with over 57% of the vote. Her closest contender from the Independent Patriots for Change, IPC, garnered just 25.5%. That's a landmark. Now, at 72 years old, Nandi Ndaitwah is now the first woman to lead the mineral-rich nation, which has been under SWAPO's governance since its independence in 1990. The election is being disputed. Of course.
Of course.
So the election is being disputed, not necessarily because she's a female, but that's just how we do here on the African continent. And a little bit more about her. At 14 years old, she became part of the movement resisting rule from South Africa, which had governed the country known then as Southwest Africa since the end of World War I. In her victory speech, the president-elect pledged to prioritize job creation and attract investment through economic diplomacy, aiming to tackle unemployment and boost Namibia's development. Here are some reactions to her win. We're reacting to her win.
Yes, that's Tolu's reaction to her win.
No, but I was actually...
Let's supply our own.
Yes.
So, but when you hear of this, what was one thing that comes to your mind?
I'm very excited. Honestly, I am very excited. And at the same time, I wish she wasn't that old so that she could have more time, to do more energy, to do a lot for her country. But anyhow, I will still take it as a win.
Yeah,
Congratulations, madam.
And one thing I think of when I see this story is resilience, from 14 to 72 or 73.
So what are you doing with your own life, your youth?
It's not for everybody, but it's for some of us. Catherine, there's more.
Yeah, she will be one of Africa's few female leaders, who includes Liberia's Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Remember her? She made history in 2005 as Africa's first elected female president and was known as what?
Africa's Iron Lady.
There's also Malawi's Joyce Banda, who made history. Then, when she made history as the first female president of the country following the sudden death of President Bingu Mutharika in Ethiopia. Sahle Zewde was elected as the country's first female president just here in 2018. So while largely
Ethiopia now.
Her election was a landmark achievement for women's political empowerment in Africa. Then let's move to Tanzania's Samia Suluhu Hassan, who is currently Africa's only female president. And then, of course, we'll be welcoming Nandi Ndaitwah to the club.
Guys,
I love it.
We matter, and I love that Jasiri is on the front line when we spearhead women conversations, women in leadership. I don't know, I'm kind of happy that somehow, yes, it's not here yet, but it's within Africa.
I just feel it's creeping. Do you know, I have goosebumps. I feel as if it's creeping closer. It's just like it's going to happen. Allah will just be president of Nigeria. Like,
it's coming.
I already have my cabinet members.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I think that this also translates to support from the other gender, whether we like it or not. It's not just, it doesn't just take the women to make it work. So I like that there's a kind of eye-opening going on, and I hope that that bug bites us here in this part of Africa very soon, sooner or later. But I love to see it.
Yeah.
I worry though that because whether we like it or not, there are some men that are resistant. It takes a little bit of intentional bending to a woman's role. There's some who categorically tell you that they cannot work under a woman. How can a woman lead me? I mean, we see it in Nigeria. But
and then they should resign gallantly.
I'm hoping that they don't, oppositions don't emanate to frustrate her tenure. Like, I mean, talking about Namibia, her tenure as president. I'm looking for a refreshing change, and I'm kind of very positive that with her being there and with this wave that is gently sweeping through Africa, for me, it's just a personal feeling of yes.
We're getting there. So I'm of two sides. One, she's been in politics for a long time, and she's been in politics at in different positions for a while, and also as vice president for a while. So she's also part of. She's also part of the political establishment. She's part of the system. But there seems to be a lot of hope. So this is a woman who was vice president, ran as president, and won with 57% of the votes. It's important to say her closest contender, a man, came in at 20-something% of the votes. But there seems to be a general feeling in Namibia, the reactions that I wanted us to take, with people saying, you know, she's a mother. They expect to see betterment and better things because she's a mother. But now we finally have those reactions. Let's take a look at what some Namibians are saying.
I'm feeling excited. With Nkwanangobe, we are very, very excited. You know, her as a mother, you know, we're looking, you know, from home. Mothers are the people that are taking care of our houses, and they are taking care of everything. So placing the country into her hand, it's a very, very good. I mean, it's in good hands. Obviously, we are expecting her to take us to a different level, because looking to her campaigns, she has said a lot of exciting things. We are looking toward to green hydrogen, oil discoveries, so we are expecting a lot of business opportunities and employment as well.
It's a new feeling, like it never happened, so we're just waiting for the outcome, how the things will work. The expectations, I'm just expecting for better work opportunities, like for us not to be in the streets anymore like we were before. Just for change, because it's new, so we're expecting new things,
I'm feeling very great. It's something that never happened, which you see here only in other countries. But then I would like to experience how it feels, and for a lady to lead our country for the first time in history, it's really something else. Expectations, I was always a fan of Ms. Nitunga. Really, I've always a fan of her ever since I was here. Ever since she's just giving me that motherly vibe, that warm feeling of a mother. And ever since I lost my mom, I'm just seeing her as a role model also, and really, I think that's one of my main reasons I really vote for. So I hope she will really do the right thing, and we are all the way behind her as ladies and mothers and sisters and aunties and daughters. Yeah.
Neighbors and neighbors.
You can see the excitement. Yes, you know why I'm happy? This story is coming after we talked about the role of women in politics
just yesterday.
And we emphasize the fact that it is, we've gone to the point where we no longer segment the role of women. So all of them have likened her to a mother. And if you say that mothers, women are carers and nurturers, why do you think that would not translate into politics, into governance? If they can nurture in the kitchen, in the home, in the bedroom, then they can nurture in governance. So I like that they're likening her to a mother. Oh, she's the mother.
I like it, but I don't like it, because my feeling for it seems to be oftentimes women in politics are held up to this very, very high standard. A standard we typically don't always hold up men to. Sort of like, you know, it's that Madonna / something complex. I can't say the full name on air. Go and Google it. Feeling that women are somehow, you know, we're not necessarily Eve anymore, but we're supposed to be this higher moral and ethical authority. We're not able to make the mistakes or have the there's a human fable, human fallacies or whatever, or temptations that men have. And I think sometimes it sets women in politics up for disappointment and a failure to meet expectations, because people don't realize we're humans. We make the mistakes that men make.
Yes, I was going to tell the same line, that I know that everybody just believes that this is the traditional role of women. And we forget that she has been a woman in politics. So she might not just be caught in that, oh, I'm a kitchen, I'm a nurturing thing. And she might just be a cutthroat politician that knows how to rule and lead effectively. So I just want them to have an open mind and not to hold that to such high moral standards that she would spend all her time in her tenure trying to live up to that.
We here are looking for something to hold on to. And we can't find it. So if they are looking for that as some succor, that is why people are killing themselves in churches. They are there day in, day out. I passed somewhere yesterday, and there were people going to church at 11:30 in the morning, and I'm wondering, first thing that came to my mind was, oh, I'm not going to work. But that's the thing. For you to create that time, because everybody's looking for hope, you're desperately looking for something to hold on to. The Namibians are desperately looking for that, and you can't separate the woman, the carer, the nurturer from that.
But you know the aggression because you are part African.
So let's be honest. So let's be honest, right? With everybody, gender, age, there comes a certain kind of expectation. When Diomaye Faye of Senegal was elected, they're like, oh, he's young, he should have more sense, he should do this, he should do that. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to hope in Nigeria. So there's always something to look forward to. So if they're seen as a motherly figure, I mean, if they expect her not to make a mistake,
she wears Ankara, so that's already motherly figure.
That's sometimes. But I think that
for the country to support you, and you're in a position where you know your people support you.
So let's see if we can get.
Let's show that the goodwill.
Or 52. Let's see if we can get a Namibian political analyst, especially on this, particularly towards women in political office, and telling us a little bit more about her.
I hope our politicians are watching and they are sending congratulatory messages.
They will send, but they will tell their wives to go back to the other room.
Never. Anyway, moving on to exciting things. Wednesday was World Wildlife Conservation Day.
She can see now.
Oh, thank you, ladies. I know you care about me. Yes, it's a day set aside to focus on critical need to protect our planet's biodiversity. Today, we put a special lens on Nigeria's unique ecosystems. After the break, we'll be joined by Chinedu Mogbo. He's going to be talking about protecting Nigeria's wildlife for future generations. This is a conversation we don't really have enough in Nigeria. I don't even think people think that there are rights. But we'll be right back.
I'm surprised the Lord didn't add the addendum, but it's okay. We'll be.
I don't know why I'm so excited today.
You know why you're excited.
Even though I might be the first one to bolt. But let's lay a foundation for you. So try and picture this. A world without the roar of lions, the vibrant hues of exotic birds, or the grace of antelopes in the wild. From the savannas to the rainforest, Nigeria is home to an incredible array of wildlife that faces growing threats. And the country stands at a critical crossroads as our wildlife face endangerment and worse, extinction. Wildlife conservation isn't just about saving animals, it's also about preserving our identity, safeguarding ecosystems, and securing our future. Are we doing enough to protect these treasures? And what happens if we fail?
All right, so there are 22,000 vertebrate and invertebrate species in Nigeria. Several native species remain in Nigeria, such as the elusive pangolin, the hyraxes, the cuckoos, the puff adders, and the hooples. So imagine there are over 200 species of fish in Nigerian inland waters, 14 species of reptiles, 7 species of mammals, 59 species of amphibians, and 72 species of water-associated birds. About 1,000 species of birds have been recorded in Nigeria, 5 of them endemic to the country, meaning they are only found in Nigeria, while 31 are under threat of population decline. Each of the country's geographical zone has its typical bird species, with few being found in forest and savanna. There are also some 290 mammal species in the country, but all of this is at risk, as Tolu said. So joining us now to look at preserving our wildlife is conservationist and founder, Greenfingers Wildlife Initiative, Chinedu Mogbo. Welcome to Just Say.
Thank you
Welcome.
very much.
Why did your voice change at the end?
Thank you.
Where?
Thank you.
So,
But you know, I like this thing. You guys can't see it, but Captain has a direct line to the friends that Chinedu brought, the scaly and furry type. So just be watching them. They're coming to join you soon. Chinedu, welcome.
Blessing is written on a chair.
I'm thinking of how best to move like this.
She's a dog mom. Why are you so scared? What's the difference between a dog and a
I
tiger?
only like the animal that I have.
yes.
Someone just said "all" somewhere. Oh my! Please let's start this conversation.
Anyways, Chinedu, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
So we are not the conservationists, but we want to open people's minds to the array of animals that exist, especially here in Nigeria. And we understand that these animals are threatened, are of threat of extinction. She mentioned some names that I've never even heard. What is hoopum?
And the profile is still in existence.
It was like Okada.
It's a bird.
But really, on a serious note, what are the threats that these animals face, and how have these threats been exacerbated by maybe activities of people, activities, I don't know, climate change, I don't know.
Yeah, there are loads of threats. I mean, animals face here even in Nigeria. Although it's not unique to Nigeria, I think this is more of in Africa and some parts of Africa where there's not really much being done. I mean, when we talk about conservation, we have to be deliberate. We have to be doing something. I mean, when population grows in any society, you would get people who want to consume. Consumption is not what we are against. We are all about conservation. So conservationists don't talk about, oh, you can't eat this, you shouldn't eat this. We only tell you that save some, let them thrive for the future. We need them within the ecosystem. And when there is no deliberate act, and now what am I talking about? Education in our schools, how much of conservation is being talked about? Do the children even know these animals that are existing in the Nigerian space? So with that lack of education, then there's lack of enforcement. Then there's now, I mean, definitely where you have people, there will be greed. People will push to want to capture all the birds there, maybe to sell out and make some money. One person can take 100,000 birds, for example, just because he wants to profit himself.
Yeah.
And maybe nothing is being done about that. I mean, think about the pangolins, hundreds of thousands are being killed every year just to fill one person's pocket or a syndicate's pocket. So these are the things that are causing the rapid decline. And because also we do not have, for example, marine protected areas. You talked about the ocean life. I mean, it's another avenue that is not even touched to begin with. But sea turtles are found around our environment, and you'd be surprised that we do not have marine protected areas where these sea turtles can actually. So everything is open for hunting, fishing, and these are the problems that we are facing when it comes to wildlife here.
Wow. I've known Chinedu for a while and I know his passion. So I've been to the zoo myself, so I can feel the pulse of what he's saying. And I know that Nigeria is home to some rare animals. In fact, the fact that we do not even know we have it is something that should hurt us, that are only found here in West Africa. They include places like Cross River gorilla There's something called cross-river gorilla. And there's Nigerian Cameroon chimpanzee that are very indigenous to us. We also have the African manatee and African forest elephant and the pangolin. All of them are either vulnerable or endangered or possibly on the brink of extinction. It has been reported that at least 21 bird species may become extinct as a result of deforestation. We're the ones doing that to ourselves because of agricultural benefits, whether in Nigeria or Africa. How does the loss of a single species, you know, how does it disrupt the entire ecosystem? Because I just wonder.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see because, for example, people who live, let me use the pangolins, for example. The pangolins are the only natural ant-eaters we have, and pest control, termites, ant controls we have. And over the years, especially for those people who live even at the mainland or even far out close to the forest areas, now there's been a huge surge in termite population. Now you would wonder, why are we seeing that? All right, because yes, the number of pangolins we used to have that used to keep this thing. So what do you end up doing? You end up maybe fumigating your house. Then what are you doing? You're introducing chemicals into the environment, chemicals that will not normally, should not normally be there. You inhale these chemicals. Over time, it builds up, it causes health challenges. These are the things that could have been controlled earlier. What about the vultures, the hooded vultures? Vultures used to be everywhere, controlling, you know, when anything that's dead, they'll pick up, you know. And now there's a loss in a huge decline. Vultures have now gone to, hooded vultures have gone almost down to critically endangered. And you now see what? Cholera outbreaks because waste that is not decomposed is now washing into the waterways. People are consuming this. So there's a problem. There will be problems, more problems coming. Now, as we also are cutting down the trees, reducing we have what we call the window where the microorganisms are supposed to stay within the forest they circulate within there. Now, once that has been breached and they jump out into human population, that's where you now have a surge in zoonotic diseases. Now, these animals, while in the wild, would keep these things at bay. But now, when they are lost, these small microorganisms are looking for new hosts. They are changing their genetic makeup and jumping out to human. We now see new diseases that are coming up, and these are some of just the major problems we have when we lose our species.
So what the example you've given now is all about a balance. It's sort of like, okay, there's a certain number of predators so that you keep a certain number of prey at bay, but by the time you don't have enough predators, the prey becomes so much that it's a fascinating conversation, Chinedu, we started here. We're going to go on a quick timeout because we do have some bills to pay, and when we come back, we have Catherine, extra special guest.
I'm not hearing
It's extra special guest joining us. Stay with us.
Are they joining me?
All right, just only I think I've lost Catherine. I don't know. Please go to the wide. Chinedu is bringing, we said he's bringing scaly and furry friends.
Catherine, come on.
Chinedu, please, what is this? This is a...
So this is royal python or a ball python.
Okay.
Is this a real animal? Something is in there?
There's a turtle inside.
It's a non-venomous snake. Found here in Nigeria. Okay. Now, they are one of the most docile species. Usually, snakes like this, once threatened, will hide their head and form a ball. And
that's where they get the name.
Ball python.
So somebody like a Catherine who has bought it from set, what is the role of this kind of animal in the chain, in the value chain of life?
Now, let me. You remember when we had a Lassa fever outbreak?
Yes.
And basically, we had. And things like that could spread due to the prevalence of rats.
Can I try?
Oh, yes, you can. Prevalence of rats. And this
I want to actually try it.
Control the
I've never
population
touched snake
of
before.
rats.
He's so oily and cute.
Okay, wait.
It's okay. It's all right. So, so they help control rodent population, which would definitely lead to the spread of other kinds of diseases.
That's true.
And I mean, throughout the whole of Lagos, you have snakes different species of snakes cut across. And it's important that we know that they are there for a reason so that they can help reduce rodent population, because rather than using poison.
So you mentioned education earlier, and I know, like, okay, I've been to places and seen. Bless you, I've lost Catherine today.
Okay, so maybe I just stay here.
It's okay, so bad. It's not so bad. He was opening, he was actually coming out.
Yeah.
But, you know, in terms of education, there are a lot of Nigerian children who are not exposed, one, to the animals, and two, to an understanding of what role they play. This is a sea tortoise or just a tortoise?
Actually a tortoise.
A tortoise.
African spored tortoise.
I've never seen a small one.
Oh, yeah,
I've always seen
those
big
massive ones.
Yes.
So let's talk about the massive one. So in researching this, there was a guy who recently, a picture of a guy and his, I think people in his village, when they got a bluefin marlin.
Oh, yes.
That picture recently retrended, even though it was a story from, I think, 2020 or 2021, if we can get that picture up. And the conversation was around how they saw it, they caught it, and then they ate it. So there's a conversation around the fact that we consume or we destroy. We don't have an appreciation. Every kind of animal almost must end up in the pot.
Yes.
Are Nigerians really aware of the irreplaceable value of the wildlife and the role that they play? Where is he going?
I don't think they do. I think it's that's where the problem really lies. When they feel that, and I think sometimes people could say it stems from hunger, but then again, sometimes it doesn't stem from hunger. It could just be, I don't understand this thing. What is it doing here? Let me save myself and let me kill it. Think about owls flying into your house at night.
And you demonize it.
You say it's a demon.
It's a demon.
I'm seeing something, I'm like, oh, God has blessed me with this food or this animal. I mean, it's going to feed my family. So there are many reasons why people would do such a thing. But still, like I said, I saw the man talking about, he says he wish he could find it again. But sometimes these things don't, you don't get, lightning doesn't strike twice, basically. So it's important that when we are educated about our wildlife, I think we'll be able to do way
I do not know why in Africa.
I really want them to use the picture. There's also the sea tortoise, massive one that was caught and apparently turned into soup as well. Yes, there we go. And these are animals that are already endangered. Their grounds where they go to lay their eggs and traditionally move around are also being endangered. They're being caught in nets. They're also being affected by the blades of ships around the route. And a lot of people don't understand. It's instinct for many of these animals, instinct that has been bred from hundreds of years. They go to a certain place at a certain time to spawn. Then they follow a certain route of the ocean, and then that's how they live their life. But we are humans, we're blocking it. And I don't think we really understand how much it's costing us. So, Lolo, so sorry, I wanted to make sure we saw that.
No, it's very important because I think in Africa, we do not have enough education when it comes to animals. We're taught to fear.
Yes.
Like, I've never seen a snake, but I've always wanted to, touch it or to know what it feels like. And it's not just because I don't want to know about it, but I watch a lot of animal
Nat Geo Wild.
So I know that there are some snakes that are not venomous. So I know that one. And I want to talk about, we're celebrating this year's World Wildlife Day. The United Nations on Drug and Crime Nigeria representative Oliver Stope noted as while some seizures of illegal trade in wildlife and forest products have been on the rise due to some work that the Nigerian Customs Service are doing. 2/3 of these seizures involving Nigerians are reported by authorities to other countries. So what do we need to do to be able to intercept these people more? Because a lot of people do not even know this thing they are doing is bad.
I think you shouldn't talk about even wildlife crime as it is. What is the wildlife crime we're seeing in Nigeria? How does it impact wildlife and conservation efforts in the country?
Now,
is trying.
Nigeria has.
I had a feeling
laws.
I would not be afraid of
Nigeria has laws that protect wildlife.
A feeling.
I mean, even right now, there's a new endangered species bill that is being that is basically currently in the just about to be released. It just had this public hearing. Now, when you talk about certain kinds of animals, it's a crime to even, for example, have some of these animals, kill some of these animals. How much more talking about transporting or exporting them outside the country. So there are laws that protect them, but unfortunately, I can guarantee you a lot of the local law enforcement officers are not even aware of these laws. And we are talking about maybe species that are even on have the Appendix 1 the ones that are really protected, but you still see them being peddled in markets. They're being sold for food in wet markets also. So yes, the law hasn't really worked for some.
Is it that, do you think we need an agency that actually just does this work like we have abroad? We have forest protectors, or what they call them. That their job is just to protect wildlife and to draw, you know, boundaries. A lot of people don't know that all these animals that infest our homes and everywhere is because their habitat is being disturbed.
Yes.
You can bring another one out.
We do have all these.
Put one back in.
We do have all these laws, these offices. They are here in Nigeria, but we are also trying to make sure that these offices are actually functional, and they will actually do what they're meant to do. For the customs, they've been wonderful in the past years. They've been a lot of seizures of not just rosewood. We have the pangolin scale, the elephant
donkey
tusks.
hides, I know.
There's been a lot of seizures, all right? But also I feel they too may have maybe some challenges too that may pertain to them maybe in certain areas where there's low security, because all these things are happening all around the borders of Nigeria. There's this trafficking that is going on, but they've been so amazing in intercepting some of these wildlife trafficking and try to prosecute, taking a step further to prosecute them in the court with the help of some other NGOs.
Are there other NGOs besides yours that really does, you know, pushes the cause of animal conservation?
Oh yes, we do. I mean, for example, we do what we call ex situ conservation. Now, ex situ is basically we work with animals within a confined space. So we are basically animals that have been rescued that need rehabilitation. Now that's what we do. Now there is the in situ where people work with the animals in the forest, ensure that the habitats are safe, and we have organizations like that. There are many of them in the northern parts of Nigeria, even here in Lagos. There is one.
You see, education.
So
a lot of people do not even know.
Quite a few of them that are doing such a good job in conserving our wildlife species.
Okay, sorry, please introduce us to another one of the animals you brought with you.
I touched a snake for the first time, and a tortoise.
I used to have a tortoise. His name was
actually
Emilio.
felt I would not be afraid of a snake. I just haven't had the opportunity. I've been wanting to go to this, I think, Benin Republic, where they said there's a place where you can actually go
like a
visit.
temple, I think it is.
Yes, visit with snakes and everything.
Okay, so which one are you bringing for us now, Chinedu?
Porto.
Is Catherine going to be able? We've put the snake away, Catherine.
Yeah.
I wish we had caught that on camera. I'm serious.
It's like a baby.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Chinedu, what is this?
It's even on a blanket.
It's a Porto. It's a Porto. Now, it's a lot of people confuse them, think it's a bush baby.
I was going to say that it looks like a bush baby.
You know, a bush baby or a galago is quite
like a galago.
They're smaller, but this is a Porto. It's a nocturnal animal, and you can tell from the shape
eyes.
The eyes that he's. There was a video actually going around recently where one of them was lynched by people because they didn't understand what animal. I mean, seeing him walk, if you see him how he walks, it can be quite scary for a first timer. And I think that caused a lot of confusion.
I don't understand.
They have like long limbs.
Yeah, so you see his hands, he'll just
put him on the table. Put him on the table.
His hands, he'll just walk. He actually loves to hold on to people. That's one of the things he's because we raised him since he was little.
So he's been.
You see, okay. You see.
So he's hand raised.
So he's been hand raised.
And he has imprinted.
It's imprinted. So
wow.
it's difficult for species like this to go back into
the
wild because we feel, because they are also solitary, another problem we are facing, although we do have some protected spaces here in Nigeria, which we do release them, we do, as much as possible, try to ensure that they are very, very safe before.
So what role does this animal play in the ecosystem?
Oh, actually, he's a frugivore. Basically, he takes fruit and he feeds on insects.
Okay.
He would feed on insects that no other animal would feed on.
Wow.
And he feeds on mosquitoes.
Not mosquitoes, too small.
Tiny.
So it feeds
you have found your voice.
It feeds on animals that, for example, insects that are like very poisonous to other animals.
Wow. Oh, wow.
He would take them up easily, and it doesn't affect it doesn't affect him. And he's also for seed dispersal because he takes fruits, he spreads the fruits in other parts, so they also help in
they're like being, they're responsible for ensuring the dispersal, the continuation of. Oh wow!
So can you really see like now because there's light and everything?
He can see very, very well.
Even in the light,
he can see very well.
Does he have a name?
You will experience something.
Don't bite me.
You will experience holding him first. Yes. So holding him first, you might experience a little bit strange feeling because he would want to he would hold on to you, then he will lick you, and if you have not experienced being licked by
animal
before, I would rather.
Sorry, what type of tongue do they have?
So he has he uses the tongue and just the lower incisor just to give you a good lick, and it feels very, very
You know what he bites?
No, he doesn't bite. He doesn't bite.
I don't think he bites. He's just getting used to.
So there's something I saw online, and I think that I've seen it before, where people kill elephants just because of their trunk and
their tusk.
Or their tusk. Do we still have a lot of that in Africa? And like Lola was saying, are they being regulated? You said something about agencies that try to apprehend most of these people, but is it still happening a lot?
Oh, in Africa, yes. In Nigeria, also yes. We do have elephants that come, but you don't have in other parts of Africa where people would do it for. There are poachers that do this. There are some that actually pay and get a license to kill.
Yes, sometimes to call animal populations.
Not even for that, no. These are
game hunters.
Tourists that
trophy, big
hunters. Yes. So they come in and they do these kinds of things. But here in Nigeria, we do not have trophy hunting. What we now have sometimes is human-wildlife conflict, and it's huge. When I say, for example, you've planted a farm, but your farm cuts across the path of the elephants.
Yes.
All right, so what do you expect? The elephants will come into the farm and they're wrecking what you've spent hours, months, most of your livelihood. And what happens then? There's a shootout, the elephant is killed in the process. And these are the things that happen. The same thing happens with the forest elephants, happens with the savanna elephants in the northern part of Nigeria. So these are the conflicts we get to see, especially when we're talking about elephants. But because of sometimes of our actions, because of these things, we've wiped out a few of our animals. Slender-snouted crocodiles are no longer here. Giraffes, which we used to have in the wild, we do not have them anymore in the wild. Any giraffe you hear of or you see has been imported back into Nigeria. So these are some of the challenges that we are seeing, especially when it comes to
I want to talk about our zoos. I was privileged
he has another animal. I want him to also showcase. Calm down.
I went to the Ibadan Zoo. I will not lie. I left there weeping.
What the heck is this?
Stay there.
This one I'm afraid of.
What is this?
It's scary.
You know, you have a dog, so you'll be fine.
He's fine.
No,
he said like a baby.
So how do you find your people that like animal like you?
It's a practice. There are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people out there who do love animals, and definitely sometimes it's just showing them the.
And this one I'm afraid of.
Okay, so what is this?
So this is called the genet.
A genet.
It's called a genet. It's actually found in different parts of Lagos, even.
Wow.
But you find them in places where people raise birds.
Yeah, it looks like a cat.
It's also a nocturnal animal.
What animal family?
Of the eyes.
Yeah.
So
cat or dog?
Cat or dog. Cat.
Yeah.
I told you it's cat like. I don't like cat.
People call him bush cats. That's what people.
God, don't bite my microphone.
So tell us. I would lose my train of thought. I was going to ask a question, and your garnet has just taken
when you get it back, tell us
head.
the role of the gannets in.
Gannets also do control rodent population, insects also, bird population.
Yes.
Everybody just will have to. Has its own responsibility. It fits into the food chain one way or the other. We also raised this guy when
I can see that you raised him because he's he's all on you like a cat.
Do they know when you raise? Because some animals are more intuitive than others.
Yes.
He has imprinted on him.
Oh yeah,
He's imprinted on him.
They
like
know
him,
when you raised them. Some are able to switch quickly back into the wild instinct. Can just kick in. and they can just be wild. And with those ones, we are happy to always reintroduce those ones back into the wild.
I wanted to talk about the zoos that we have in Nigeria. I went to Ibadan Zoo. I left there in tears. Because if I were those animals, I would rather that they close down the zoo because the state of those animals were deplorable. I could not, when I saw a hyena, it was, I'm wondering, what is the state of our zoos? Do we even still have zoos that are really good and functional in Nigeria, aside your private ones?
Aside private ones, yes, because we've seen a proliferation
there
of
was
private zoos.
somewhere in Jos, there was a wildlife reserve somewhere in Nigeria before. What is happening in those spaces?
I know Maiduguri was affected when the floods happened.
For zoos, yes. I mean, think about it. If there, like I said, there is no effective management. I mean, most of these zoos have existed for a very long time. Ibadan Zoo you're talking about was I mean, the person who started it, the guy who started it, is a British individual before he handed over to the Nigerian and before he left. But there's been so much, I'd say, abuse that has now come into it. Now, we can't say, I mean, we don't know what is happening. Maybe funds have been, I'm sure funds have been provided for to keep these animals because they've been kept. But what is happening? These are the things we need to check. Because you're talking about animals. They will not talk back.
They can't.
They won't tell you we've not eaten for 5 days. You'll only see it in how they look. Or maybe you come tomorrow, they're no longer there. And these are the things, these are the problems we have, especially with all our zoos. If we are not accountable for the human population, we'll be accountable for the animals in the zoo. So it really needs people who are dedicated and people who are really motivated to ensure that our wildlife in the zoos, in wildlife parks, wherever they are, that they are well catered to, because that is really the sign of a healthy.
So this Garnet is like, you're my daddy. So he's going to town on your thumb, on your finger. You're acting like.
It's not actually.
How old is it?
So he's about 7 months.
Oh, just 7 months.
It's still a baby.
Do they get bigger than this?
Just a little bit bigger, but you see how they are
they
quite
elongate.
long.
They're quite long.
Okay, yes, I think I've seen one. And so you can imagine at night you're walking somewhere in Lagos and you just see that thing go. It's like you But there's one more, not one more. I know you brought 2 more. There's a lizard and a baby crocodile. Can we get the crocodile so that we can talk about that before time is going?
I wanted to ask that. What is your role? Are you engaging? Is there stakeholder conversations going on? Because if there is no advocacy, I doubt if the government would ever really function and do something for the animals or for conservation. Are there stakeholder engagements? How are you engaging the government?
And you were just talking about an Endangered Species Act as well for Nigeria. So I think this is the first time a lot of people will be hearing about something like that.
There actually is. There's a conversation going on about protecting protecting our species and ensuring our species thrive. But like I said, how effective is it? How proactive? How far can it even go? And what will it yield even at the end? You know, like I said, there are some Nigerian organizations that are doing a wonderful job. Like I said, I always give it to the customs who are doing a good job, especially in their own areas. Season,
then is your crocodile coming?
Yes, it is. Season and ensuring that the animals get proper rehab before they're now released. Even the national park is also another organization that is also doing a good job with wildlife. So they are there. But the question is, I think there could be more.
Absolutely.
Collaboration.
So you talked about the legal landscape. We've talked about wildlife crime and interceptions. Crocodiles are one of the animals that actually gets really, they're part of the wildlife crime. They're killed a lot. And at the end of the day, I think, Chinedu, you also need to paint a picture for us of what a Nigeria would look like, what a world would look like without wildlife. You can talk about trying to make why is his mouth open? You can talk about trying to make the connections around something like a Lassa fever and the destruction or the endangerment of animals like the gannet and one of the other ones we had. But we really need to let people understand that we ourselves endanger our own continued survival when we endanger them. So first, this is what type of crocodile and what is its role? What is its role?
This is the dwarf crocodile, the African dwarf crocodile. Okay. Now this crocodile will grow to just about 6 feet long. We do have other species of crocodiles in Nigeria. This is one of them. Now, people will see this and call it an alligator, but we do not have alligators in Nigeria.
Are you serious?
Freshwater, right?
No,
what's the distinction?
So look at the snout of this one.
Okay.
It is V-shaped.
Okay.
An alligator has a U-shaped snout.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the only difference, and we do not have them. The other thing people call alligators or crocodiles is monitor lizards. Yeah,
I hate lizards.
And that's another
That's why I don't
one
like
that is,
fish.
that's another species we have here. But the importance of species like this, I mean, think about our freshwaters. You know, the whole aspect of part of Lekki was a mangrove swamp.
Yes.
Now, in there you had fish population, and you had everything. It was a thriving marshland ecosystem for many of these species, but we've wiped them out. I mean, we've really, literally
But when you look
wiped
at it,
them
you
out.
think it's dry bush, you know, it doesn't look alive. When you look at it, like this, it's just in one place.
Yes, I mean, although also he's been very small, and when we've had him, and he's basically grown up in our care. We do find some of these.
Tongue?
They do not have tongues.
Oh, they don't?
Oh, they don't?
So just the teeth?
Yeah,
Wow.
and they have. So they would taste if the food, once the food gets into the mouth, but no tongue comes out, because once they close that mouth,
Nothing comes out.
Do you have names for them? Are they all
actually,
named?
so we do not have. It's only the Porto that is called Porto Junior because he was named. But that's all. We don't actually for many of them. We do allow people to when they support us by adopting, they get to name them and they watch the life process as they go through the sanctuary back into the wild, and that's what we try to make people connect with these animals and also give them some form of the animals some form of an understanding. And also, I think that kind of brings joy to people when you know that there was a bird you were caring for, and after a while, now that bird is flying
has
free.
made its way back.
Has made its way back.
So he will find his way back.
He will find his way back into the wild. That's the essence of essence of the whole ex situ conservation.
And it's supposed to be this dry and scaly?
Yes, so reptiles have dry skin also, and they do have scaly skin compared to amphibians that are a bit moist.
They have combination skin.
I have a bit moist
and slimy.
Like the snake. All right, Chinedu, that's as much as we can take today. I'm happy you were gracious enough to come back and join us, Catherine.
Thank you.
Very much. But I know that we're going to see what happens. I know that the ladies, we're going to do a lot more with Chinedu after the show, but it's important. It's important to have these conversations and also show Nigerians that these animals exist and that there's nothing to be afraid of, but something to be protected. And I hope that this conversation today has actually raised some level of awareness for those who are watching. Thank you so much for your passion and your commitment to this work, and we'll continue to join you in that, in protecting wildlife. But it's not just about preserving animals, but also about preserving our own selves as well. You guys have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow, which is what? Hot Topics, right?
Hot Topics
Friday.